how it's possible to increase your quotes close rates so that you can put money back in your pocket. If you're a dealer for a high ticket service like sheds, garages, carports, metal buildings, ADUs, or even vehicles like cars and pickups, if you send out quotes to potential prospects and you're not getting enough of them to come back as closed deals, then in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 secrets on how you can increase your close rates guaranteed so that you can make more sales. All right, let's jump right in and get started. Okay, so to increase these close rates, secret number 1 is quoting what they actually want. That's a big one. Okay, too many times I see dealers talking to prospects and just start flying out with quotes. Let me get this quoted to you. Let me sit this quote to you. And just, they fire out quotes. Okay, here's the concept that happens. When a quote goes out, it's the official kind of discussion document. All right? And what that does, essentially says, is like, this is where we stand. This is where you need to agree on. Can we come to terms? Well, if it's not what the prospect wants, then what that does is that shuts down that conversation. Okay? If they feel locked in, it just happens. Just think about it. When you've bought something and you've been given that quote, just like it just locks things down. All right? It's fine. It's great. We got to get to that point to send them a quote so that they can make a decision. But here's the key point. We got to quote what they actually want. All right? That is the big one, what they actually want. And we need to make sure we've had this open style discussion, okay? Sometimes that open style discussion means we have to send information back and forth. We have to take screenshots and we have to pull up some pricing, but we're not doing quotes. Big difference, all right? Big difference. A screenshot on a text with just like a screenshot of some pricing and then back and forth, is this what you have in mind? And we just kind of go back and forth, and the prospect comes back and says, I was actually thinking something different, or do you have a different color, or do you have something a little bit bigger? You know the discussion. That's how it works. And so when we're doing that, we're not actually sending quotes. There's a whole nother process involved in that side, but we're not sending quotes. All right. That's the main thing. And what we do is we're going to quote what the actual, when we get to the point where, okay, they like the color, they like the size, they like the availability, they like when they can get it. Now we're cool. All right. Now we can go ahead and put this quote together, make it formal, put it into an email, put it in, just hand it to them, by hand. Here it all is. Here's a pricing. Here's a place for your signature. Here's what deposit that's required. All that kind of stuff. All right. That's the number 1 secret to selling more. All right. Let's go into number 2. Follow up like you actually mean it. Follow up like you actually mean it. All right. Okay. We finally got to the place where we're quoting what they actually want. We send it off to them. Oftentimes on high ticket deals like, selling buildings or selling a vehicle, there's enough money involved that they're not ready to make a decision just like right then and there. Sometimes they are, and we want to grab that. But oftentimes there is a bit of decision. So anyways, whether we were face to face and we gave them the quote documents and all the pricing details, or we send it to them in an email, whatever the case is, once they leave, once we send that off to them, too many dealers stop right there. Well, I've quoted this and now it's up to them. I don't want to be an annoying person and bother them. I don't want to call them up when, and then that could be irritating. They like me. We had a good discussion, and now they have all of the details. All they got to do now is get back with me. I'm going to let them get back to me when they're ready. All right. No, that's called, I don't know what that's called, but that's called missing an opportunity. If that's how it is, you're missing an opportunity, huge opportunity. You got to follow up like you actually mean it. Right. And this is actually this is so huge for getting the deal to actually happen. Okay. Here's what happens on most prospects. This is how it works. They've got the information. They like what they see, and they leave and they go about their day. Life gets busy. All right. They might get back home and, the washing machine is broken, or they might drive to an appointment somewhere where all of a sudden now they have to pay a lot of extra money that they weren't expecting, or they might have to go to their child's event somewheres and they met something or somebody or something. Anyways, life gets busy. All right. They're not thinking about you for sure. They're not hardly thinking about the thing that they just talked about in the back of their mind. They're like, yeah, I really would like to have this, I'll get to it sometime. And they're going to get to it sometime. All right. Your follow-up is the key to keeping this top of mind for them. All right. So instead of thinking about, I'm going to follow up so I can make a sale. No, that's the whole concept. But when we're going to follow up like we actually mean it, what that means is we're going to follow up so that they can make the best decision. All right. We had this discussion, the prospect and me. Mr. Prospect, is this what you want? They said, yes, that's what I want. Okay, here's the price. We had this discussion. I don't want them to miss out on the thing that they told me that they needed, right? They have a reason for them coming in and even wanting to even discuss this with you. So I don't want them to get sidetracked on the thing that they actually need. So I'm going to follow up like I actually mean it. All right. Yeah, Mr. Prospect, I'm just checking in, the quote I sent you the other day, you were going to go back home and, talk about it with your spouse. And I'm just seeing, did you guys come to a decision? Or did you want anything changed? Did it make sense what we talked about? Does this look like it would be the best one for you? And we have that follow-up, all right? And whether you do it with a phone call, you do it with a text, you do it with an email, it's all good, all right? All of it is good, but you got to follow up like you mean it. And believe me, you're not going to be annoying. You're annoying if you're just like going after the sale, going after you, like for your purpose. But if you actually mean it, you're meaning it for them. All right. So don't just send out a quote and leave it there and let them get back to you and works for them. No, you got to follow up like you mean it, and you got to reach them several times. Okay, let's move on. Secret number 3 is we're going to ask for the sale. Asking. All right. This is where we're at. We're going to be asking for the sale. I don't know how to stress this enough. We get to a place where we've quoted the right product that's going to fit the need of the prospect. We followed up like, we mean it, but there's the time and place now where we have to ask. We have to ask the sale, and do not skip out on this. We can have the first one correct. We can have the second one correct, but we can miss out on this one right here. And this is where you will lose a deal. Okay? Don't get there. What we want to do is we want to ask for the sale. This is the star, all right? And I think for a lot of people, this feels too confronting, all right? If you feel that way, you got to remember you're in sales, all right? This is all part of the process. So I've had sales reps work with me, and one of them did all number 1 and 2 very well, but they didn't do number 3 very well. And they were missing out. And then I had another one who would do a lot of asking, but they wouldn't do the, quoting what they actually wanted or were following up before, but they were actually making sales because they were asking for it. And then that was a big eye opener for me. All right. So when I put both of those reps to do, follow 1, 2, 3, their sales exploded. All right. But asking for the sale is where a lot of people miss the opportunity. And there's key indicators, right? You'll know when the prospect is like looking things over and they're having this discussion, they're coming back to you like, yeah, this is what they had in mind and this is what they're looking for. And there's all these key indicators, and now is the right time. Well, now it's like, all right, okay, so let's just say if it was a deposit that was needed, all right, all that it takes to move forward is a $5,000 deposit. Did you want to do this with a check or with cash, or I'll put it on a credit card, right? What works best for you? Another way to say it is, all right, all it takes is a $5,000 deposit. Did you want to put this on a credit card or check? Kind of give them 2 options. And then they can just say, pick one or the other, right? And then when you do that, do the ask, you just let them tell you. I think I'll put it on my credit card. I'll write a check. Who would I make the check out to, right? And so just doing that ask. And you can do that ask like over the phone. You can do it face to face. You can do it through an email. You can even do it through a text, right? There's so many different ways to do it, but we got to ask. If you want your close rates to go up, all right, then the key is to following these 3 steps. Number 1 is quote what they actually want. Number 2, follow up like you actually mean it. And number 3, don't miss this one, ask for the sale. You follow these 3 rules, your close rates are going to increase. Give it a try. Let me know in the comments how this works for you. My name is Caleb Becker, and I'm with Digital Shed, and we're helping dealers sell better and create better selling systems in their business. That's it for today. I'll see you in the next one.